Hey everybody, this is Daniel with Bothersome Truth. I want to get right into today's episode. Now this is actually going to be one of 3 episodes in a series because I want to address 3 videos made by a prominent top YouTuber named Blaire White. So I like to watch YouTube. I watch it all day and I will listen to it especially when I'm at work. There's a particular YouTuber named Dave Rubin. He does the Rubin Report. He interviews people of different backgrounds, different political viewpoints, and he will talk to them. And he just wants to get different viewpoints out and get people to have civil conversations. And this particular person, Blaire White, is a transgender YouTuber, has a good following, over 100,000 subscribers, has done some pretty popular videos, and they were talking about Black Lives Matter. And Blaire was trashing Black Lives Matter. And I was curious as to why. So I went onto her channel, subscribed, and went to watch some videos that she's done about this topic. She's done 3. Today I want to respond to video number 1, and that is where she says Black Lives Matter is trash. So what I'm going to do is play some clips from her episode, and then I want to talk about it and get into the facts and whether what she said is justifiable logically with evidence or not. I don't believe it is, and I'm going to tell you why.
On a list of things that I hate, Black Lives Matter definitely might be beating out the band Nickelback at this point, and that's truly saying something. So for context, this next video is of a vigil that's being held for the people slain in the Orlando nightclub shooting, put on by a local LGBT group, and it's completely derailed by someone from Black Lives Matter who decides to use the opportunity to hijack the microphone, make it all about her, and push her own ideology. If you're anything like me, this video is really going to piss you off, so watch at your own discretion, but here we go.
I was really nervous to get up here because there's a lot of white people in the crowd. And that wasn't a joke.
Your life's a joke. It's kind of funny that this girl takes the mic at a vigil for people slain by a Middle Eastern person to talk about how she's afraid of white people. Yeah.
I wish this many people came out to our racial demonstrations and our Black Lives Matter movement.
So, do you not understand the difference between a racial demonstration and a vigil? Those people are there to mourn the lives lost in a senseless murder. Who the fuck raised you to think you can get on stage and do this shit? And newsflash, no one shows up to your racial demonstrations because they're stupid. Can anyone point me to one thing that Black Lives Matter has accomplished since its birth that has helped race relations?
Okay, so we just watched those clips, so you've got an idea now of why I disagree with Blaire White. And there's a couple things I really want to get into. The first point I want to make here is that Blaire has taken what happened at this Pulse shooting and is making it seem as though this represents everyone in Black Lives Matter across the country. Now, let's break this down because I actually in Atlanta have worked with Black Lives Matter Atlanta. Emmanuel, who I do the tag team show with, that's how we met. We met at one of the meetings. We've been to meetings. We've protested with Black Lives Matter Atlanta. So we know what we're talking about on this subject. Now, with the Pulse nightclub shooting, let's get real about this. That was a horrific, terrible event. And I knew people who had visited that club. I heard a story about someone whose friend almost went to that club that night and didn't feel well and didn't go. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible night. It was a tragedy. It was horrific. Okay. And what those people went through, I can't even imagine how they're going to deal with that the rest of their lives. So I'm not minimizing this incident at all. I don't think anyone should. So we have a vigil going on, and this group gets to the stage and starts talking about racial issues. From the research I've read, they were talking about how they felt that when gay people are addressed, it's not treated the same when those gay people are black versus when they're white. So that was the research I'd done at the time, and I saw that was kind of where they were coming from. So let's talk about them getting on stage and kind of diverting the attention away from the Pulse vigil to talking about race. Now, is this something that bothers people? Absolutely. Do I agree with it? Personally, I don't, okay? Because of what that event was for and the tragedy that people were there in order to deal with it, come together about, okay? But does this group represent everyone in Black Lives Matter all over the country? No, it doesn't. And it's not fair to paint with such a broad brush. If one group does something in one place, is it fair for us to say that they represent everyone across the country? I mean, think about this. Blaire White is transgender, okay? And I have no problem with that. Black Lives Matter is an intersectional organization. I want her to be happy. I want her to have the life that she wants, to be able to pursue her happiness without any discrimination at all. But if a transgender group did something in Atlanta, okay, where I'm recording from, would it be fair for us to generalize and say this is what people are like everywhere else? Of course not. I don't think so. That would be wrong. I don't think we should do that to any group, whether they're black, white, Asian, whether they're Christian, atheist, Buddhist, Muslim, or whether they are gay, straight, transgender, bisexual, whatever. I don't think we should do that. I think we have to follow the evidence and be logical in how we break things down. And Blaire's not doing that here. And she doesn't do it in any of the other videos either, okay? And this is a bigger problem than you think. This matters because when we're talking about people in the media who commit crimes and do things, we have different conversations subconsciously about non-minorities versus minorities. Let me explain what I mean. So the gentleman, Omar, who shot the nightclub, okay, when he did that and people found out he was Muslim, the first thought was ISIS. Is he ISIS? Is he a terrorist? Okay. When Robert Deere shot up the Planned Parenthood, did you hear that conversation? Did anybody talk about whether he was part of a group or not? Dylan Roof went into a church and shot up those people, saying that he was doing it to start a race war, and he was never linked to a group. But when Michael Johnson shot those police in that horrible tragedy in Dallas, the first thought was, oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. People making assumptions like Blaire's done in other videos, assuming that. When the facts are, he didn't even like Black Lives Matter because he didn't even think the network was doing enough. You see, people, you could tell, as much as I respect Blaire as a prominent YouTuber, you could tell Blaire doesn't really understand what Black Lives Matter is about at all. It doesn't really have any information or data to back up her opinions. Because if she did, she'd know that it's a network and it's not a traditional organization, okay? And it's grassroots. So what one chapter doesn't automatically reflect on what everyone does around the country. Furthermore, minorities always have the stigma of being guilty by association. Okay, so when one minority does something, the accusation is for everybody. When one black protester does something, it's Black Lives Matter. When one Muslim does something, it's the Muslim Brotherhood. When one Hispanic does something, it's Hispanics. Okay, and I'm not saying Blaire is the only one doing this. She has for Black Lives Matter, but you see this in the media. You see this with prominent figures like Donald Trump. But when a white person does something in the media, it's just that individual. It's not lumped together. Nobody makes the association that they could be part of a larger group, even when they are. And that's my problem here. Okay, we're not giving fairness to the groups. We're only giving the negatives. When it comes to the positives, though, we conveniently forget those. So that brings me to my second point. Blaire says, what has Black Lives Matter done to better race relations in America? That's a loaded question. It's not a fair question. So let me answer a actually good question. The good question is, what has Black Lives Matter done to bring awareness to racial issues in this country? And they've done great work, because what they've done is they forced the conversation to show that there's a disproportionate effect when it comes to police dealing with minorities versus when they deal with non-minorities. And we have evidence of this. We have studies that are being done. We have the Baltimore Department of Justice report. We have the Department of Justice report for Ferguson. Now, to be fair to Blaire, I don't think the Baltimore report was out when she made the first video, but I'm pretty sure it was out by the time she made the third video, and she still kept saying these things. Didn't mention the report at all. So what this shows is we have evidence to show that the cops are not treating everyone the same. In Baltimore, they were violating black people's constitutional rights daily. Okay, so Black Lives Matter, you ask, what have they done? They forced a national conversation on police accountability and the inappropriate use of lethal force by police without accountability or justification. They have forced different departments to adopt body cameras and to adopt more community policing and more accountability. Cops are getting arrested, jailed, charged when they use excessive lethal force. They were not before Black Lives Matter pushed the national conversation. That's what they've done. So I appreciate Blaire doing these videos because it gives me an opportunity to refute the things she said and say, hey, this is where you're wrong. I would love to hear what you think about this. And I'd actually love to have a debate with Blaire. I'd love to talk with her and say, hey, tell me what you think. Let's have a dialogue, because I can learn a lot from other people. I can learn a lot from Blaire. And I can tell you that Blaire can definitely learn a lot on this subject, because I've watched the 3 videos. And again, I'm going to do a second and third video to respond to each video in kind. And I can tell you, like I'm just not impressed at all. I don't see facts. I don't see evidence to back up her points. And I see a lot of assumptions that are made that are not fair. But maybe I'm wrong. So tell me what you think. Respond in the comments. If you love what we're doing and you want to follow us for the other videos, subscribe. And this has been Daniel with Bothersome Truth.